The people were looking for, what can I say, dangerous things.
In the 19th century there was 15,000 circus performers. I don't think there's 15,000 circus performers today in the UK.
It's money, I think it's money, and if you can't get the people in, you can't pay the people that work for you then.
There's a few left, a few left.
For performers here, the circus isn't a job, it's a way of life. Working 7 days a week, constantly travelling to different towns and cities around the country, and for some, even the world.
I was born in the circus. I'm fifth generation. My family, my wife, is 14th generation. My daughter's 15th generation on my wife's side. And I'm fifth generation, so I was one of the lucky ones. I was born into it.
This is special. My life in the circus is special because I born in the city. I'm studying in Mexico. I'm architect. But when I married with my wife is from the circus.
The circus actually started here in England with Philip Astley. Astley's Astley Circus. He was the one that invented the 42-foot ring for the horse. It's a perfect running circle for a horse. It was invented here in England. And this was the home of circus, really the home. And now it's not.
Although circuses are still touring in the UK, it's becoming harder to sustain. Before coming to work here, Christina performed for 2 years with another circus, who were also touring across Britain.
We went to smaller towns on sort of the countryside, and we didn't have the people in, you know, there was like show we had to cancel, and the bigger ones that people actually wanted to come to because it's a nice show and they put the money into it. There's a few left, a few left.
And why are there fewer of them left?
I think it's because of the little shows. Then people go to the little shows, maybe it costs a bit less money to come and see it, they go and see it. Then when the next show comes along, they think, no, the last one was shit. Sorry, my language. They think, oh no, that was not great. They don't want to pay an extra $5 to get into another show because they think it's going to be the same sort of level.
Nowadays, the circus is facing new challenges. Without exotic animals to entertain the crowd, this circus now relies on human feats alone to continue to attract an audience. However, in order to remain working on the road, acts are having to advance and diversify to compete with other shows and modern entertainment.
Because people watch stuff on TV, they do think, oh, we need to see something really amazing. Like definitely the motorbikes, people love the motorbikes. The big props, we're a circus, so if we want to work again next year, we have to have something new and something different, because otherwise they're not going to keep the same act in the show. Then it would never change and people wouldn't come back to watch it.
As one of the few large surviving shows, this circus has 10 acts, which perform 11 times a week. But even here, empty seats are a problem.
I think people still like to come and see the circus, but it's definitely, we don't pull the crowds like what they used to years ago. We're always looking for, you know, and something more unique, you know, that hasn't really been seen in other shows, but the more dangerous the better.
Using only this team. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, your full attention until this most difficult feat is complete. And boys and girls, let's have a round of applause for the duo Costas!
Well, you know, ever since the time of the gladiators, the people were looking for, what can I say, dangerous things, you know. It's a pity actually, because there are so many other things in circus that you can do, and they require so much skill. But yes, people are looking for that, you know. But you just can't help it. It's the human nature.
I love the bikes, I love the speed, I love the adrenaline. This act is very, very dangerous because the speed, 3 bikes, and the coordination is very, very important for this act.
With acts becoming more dangerous, so too does the increasing risk of an accident. Only recently, during a performance of the Ringling Brothers Circus in Vegas, this happened. Plunging 9 acrobats to the ground, leaving them in a critical condition. Although the style of performance has changed, many elements of the circus have existed for hundreds of years. Here in Sheffield, the National Fairground Archive has researched the history of the circus, dating back to its origins.
When people go to the circus, they're looking for a spectacle. Whether that spectacle is somebody who can do a triple somersault, as in the way of Alfred Cadona, who was the greatest trapeze artist of the 20th century, or in watching a man juggle 20 hats. The circus in the UK has changed in many ways, but what we have to understand is there is no such thing as a traditional concept of a circus show. So the 19th century circus show bears no relation to what you get 100 years later, because the circus constantly changed.
Today, much of this change is down to dwindling audience numbers, having to compete against a shifting economy and new social landscapes.
It's expensive to run a big show, and if you don't get the people in and you can't pay the wages, then no one's very happy about that. It is very hard to put a big show on, and it's not just about wages, it's the diesel for all the trucks and the workers to put the tent up, and to have a lot of acts like we have at the minute. It is a lot of, it's money. I think it's money, and if you can't get the people in, you can't pay the people that work for you, then you're better off having a smaller show.
And this is what some of the other larger circuses have had to do. Each destination on their 9-month tour, it's a guessing game as to how many people will walk through the doors of the tent.
I think adaptation is the best thing that humans have. You know, they adapt to the environment, you know. The economy is totally different in nowadays, and so are the circuses. You know, everything transforms, you know. We don't have 3 rings in nowadays, we have 1 ring, but the circus still tries to keep the quality of the show up. You know, we don't have gigantic tents that fit in 5,000 people. We have just 1,000, 2,000 people in a tent. But, you know, at the end of the day, what the person sees is the same thing.
Despite the concept of the circus remaining the same, it has had to adapt. Shows are being targeted at a younger audience, which has become more involved in the performance.
Circus is an art form, and it changes, and the reason why it continues is it evolves, it takes in the contemporary setting it's in. It's a bit like any art form, it's something old, something new, something borrowed, something traditional or innovative.
It's something that's been going on for generations. It's not something that's new. You know, it's my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, like my family, my wife's family, 15 generations circus. We're not suddenly just going to stop like that and saying, oh, it's no good, let's do something else. It's in our blood. You know, it's like the sawdust. We've got sawdust in our veins. Even though we don't have animals in the show, we still put sawdust on the ground. It's in our veins.
Circus in the UK is having to change and fight to keep the tradition alive. For the acts here, having travelled on the road for most of their lives, it's not a battle they are willing to lose.